Artlist.io.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome.
This is the latest edition of Rainbow Dreamcatcher,
The Love Podcast.
And today
Who are you?
Oh, hi, I'm Nilla. And I am a marriage and family therapist and relationship coach. I travel the world helping people learn the skills they need to find happy and healthy relationships.
And I am Big Sexy, her loving husband and co-host, here to provide, what do we say? Brevity. And enjoyment.
We're just talking.
Enjoyment about love stuff.
We're just talking about love stuff. Yeah. So we've had some interesting conversations. I was excited to jump into the conversation today.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about finding love at an older age.
That's what we did.
I think first you have to kind of define what older age is. So
right.
When we talk about older age, what do you think?
So, because I attribute it to myself, I say anytime after 40.
After 40.
Okay. Anytime after 40 is finding love at an older age, because typically people find their loves in their 20s.
Yeah, I think that's true. And see, that's where I'm kind of divided, right? Because a lot of people find their love in their 20s, which I think is great.
This audio format. So what you didn't see was the wife said, when she said the word love, she put it in quotation marks.
I did, because that's my experience. I thought I was in love, like in my late 20s, right? Which felt like it was interminable. It felt like forever to find that person. And, I guess I kind of love that person. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. My thought is a lot of people find love in their 20s. That's absolutely true. A lot of people find love earlier in their 20s.
Right.
They meet in high school or,
the high school sweetheart.
High school sweethearts. That's the thing. That's the thing that happens. My parents were high school sweethearts.
See?
So, that's definitely a thing that happens. But that's why I'm kind of torn at the idea of older because, I don't know, I know a lot of folks in their 30s that feel like they're still looking for love.
That was me.
So
when I was in my 30s, still looking, still struggling to find.
And I don't know that they would maybe put themselves in the older category because they're not in their 20s. Right. They have the same responsibilities. They're adulting just like the 40s are adulting. They're just at the earlier stage of the older adult, right? So.
Right, but they're the early stage of older adult, and I think we're thinking of more of mid-stage older adult.
Okay, so we're talking. So we're going to talk about love in middle age.
Right. Folks who
middle-aged love
weren't. Now, are we saying that folks that weren't able to find love until they were older, or folks who had love, it didn't work out for whatever reason? And then found love again at an older age, because we are.
I think both, because we're both.
Things.
Yeah, we're both. I mean, to me, I thought both, because we are both, right? Obviously, I was married before. I was married for a long time. For the listeners that did not know that I was married prior to us being married,
right?
And you were looking for love. You've never been married.
But does love equal marriage? That now we come to another part. Does love equal marriage?
I don't think it equals marriage, but I do think in our culture that's kind of what people tend to denote as the marking point of I found my soulmate. But no, I don't think that you have to be married. I don't think it's necessary for love.
Right.
That's just, I don't know. I think conditioning.
Because I think of love as an older age.
Yes.
Because we found each other when I was older, and I got married when I was older. But
were you in love before that?
I was. I had previous girlfriends that I was in love with.
Well, I mean, I knew you had previous girlfriends. I think I'd like to, tell myself you didn't love any of them.
Well, I'm just kidding. You can tell yourself that.
That's ridiculous, you guys.
Whatever makes you feel good,
love other folks. And I'm actually really glad that you loved other people. I would hate to think that I was the first and only person you ever loved.
Right.
Even though, interestingly enough, in my 20s, I would have just been mortified if I weren't the first and only person that you ever loved.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that wasn't the case. No,
that's a benefit of being older.
Right. Right. There are benefits in finding love in an older age because, experience and, I've been listening to a lot of Drake recently.
No.
And he has a song called Practice.
Okay.
Right. And he says, those other men were practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that age provides, you were just practicing. That's what all them previous relationships were practice for me.
Got it. I'm looking up so there's something called smart dating over 60. So I guess that would count as older.
Yes.
And there are 7 reasons why finding true love later in life is better. I don't know. I haven't actually seen this, but let's maybe go through it together.
Yes, let's do it.
So the first one is mature dating is more authentic. I would agree with that.
Yeah, because you get out of the puppy love stage, right? You once you have experienced love at a younger age,
mm-hmm.
right? Those are really heavy rose-colored glasses. You're very puppy love. You're very stereotypical. You're very, you're overlooking a bunch of faults.
Yeah, it doesn't really talk about that so much. What it basically says is that when you're older, you're more authentically yourself.
Right? You know yourself, right?
You know yourself. You've been through some, experiences. Many of those have been difficult experiences. Right. And, I think the thing that's really lovely and also really difficult about being a human is that we are always learning, we're always growing, but oftentimes that's as a result of difficulty. It's as a result of challenge, right? Like we improve through challenge. Like I'm not going to get stronger unless I pick up heavy things, right?
Right.
And I think that by the time you get to your 40s, you've spent, a couple decades picking up some heavy things, right?
Right.
A variety of different types. So, in that sense, I agree that, we are probably more authentically ourselves.
Okay.
And I think that was true for you and I, definitely. I was definitely much more authentically me than at any other point in my life when we met.
See, I think I've not always been authentically me, but from a younger age, I was very authentic. Mm-hmm. I knew me, in my late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much who you saw was who you got.
Mm-hmm. Are you the same? Do you think you're similar to the person you were in your 20s, or do you feel significantly different?
I'm a bit different. Okay. Different experiences kind of make you grow and change. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. That's Fox.
Yeah, Fox is just want to go get him.
Yeah, he's grown. Let's go introduce you guys to Fox. If you're watching this,
and you're seeing the video, you get to
see the video. You get the bonus to see our cute puppy. Here he is.
Apparently, we were paying too much attention to ourselves and not enough to Fox.
And Fox really needs all the love. Here he is. This is Fox.
And technically, Fox is almost 12, so we love
Fox,
him. So
but I found Fox at a young age.
At a young age, right.
Yeah, I loved
him.
But
if Fox finds himself a little, hot young thing walking around these Romanian or Spanish streets,
Fox is neutered. He's not looking for no hot young nothing.
He might smell a butt or two. Fox has been known to smell a butt or two.
Don't listen to him, Fox. You don't listen to him at all. Mm-hmm. You leave those booties alone.
But yeah, so I definitely was aware of who I am younger, but who I am has grown, but I have been aware of that growth as it has happened. If that makes sense.
That's fair enough. Yeah. What's the next number two? I think is actually pretty similar, and that's what I hate about these kinds of articles. But whatever, it says we're more experienced now. Well, of course
we've gone through more experiences.
Blah 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 blah. Basically, we learn how to navigate relationship problems, so we don't have to go through that learning curve again.
Right. Because you've gone through it before. And I think there's a lot of rhythm and rhyming in relationships. Mm-hmm. You've heard the song before. The song has played before, just a different singer.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I like that analogy.
Yeah, me too. The next one is our agendas are different now. Now, I'm not going to read ahead, what do you think are the different agendas? I don't know either, but let's talk about
I think that when you're younger and you find love, your agenda is to find that lifelong partner and build a life together.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? You want to develop that family. You want to buy new property together. You're just starting out on your own and you want to venture into the world together. When you're older, that kind of stuff you probably already have. You've already established. You may already have a family.
And in that sense, I think I knew myself really well because I did not want children. So that whole idea that I was looking for a partner to like start a family,
right?
I was never looking for a partner to start a family. I really specifically did not want to start that kind of family. So yeah, that's a different kind of agenda I think I've always had.
Right.
But yeah, I think for most folks that's on the agenda. That's why I also wanted to include those 30-somethings, right? Because I guess that would
be even 30-somethings. That's
right. You're
that's
still
right
kind of
around the
looking
home
for that,
buying
right?
age.
Yeah,
You know
there
what I
you
mean?
go. So let's see what the article says. The article says, as we ease into mature dating, our agendas are different. Let's see. We're under less financial pressure.
Well, I'm going to say this was before the recession.
Sure. We have children and grandchildren. We're not under the gun to settle down, get married, have children, to find a career. All that I think is true.
Right.
Even though I did shift careers right at the time that we met.
Yeah, but you weren't older then. You're such a young, hot thing.
Yeah, well, that's true. Still true, guys. Still true. So, instead, we rather focus less on work, more on enjoying life. When we start dating, we plan to make. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, agreed.
Again, this is another variation. It's easier to be honest with others and ourselves.
I guess you don't have to have that facade.
I agree.
The young love has.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, nah, this is it. This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who you're getting. You want this? You got this. This is what you got.
Thanks, old man.
One more thing. If you want this, you got this.
Here's the quote from the article. 70% of those in the older category believe certain things, such as looks and money, become less important when looking for a new partner. And while both generations consider a good sense of humor to be important, the older crowd places more significance on honesty, with 8 in 10 looking for honesty as opposed to 66% of 20-somethings looking for honesty. That's interesting.
Interesting.
I would love to see that poll. That doesn't even make sense to me.
I would show your work.
Show your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is from an article on Hello. Yeah, that doesn't sound incredible. Whatever. Still, I definitely agree with the overarching point, which is that we look for different things.
Right.
Right. So even though, I was looking for, somebody who's attractive.
That's me.
That's you,
Same.
Fun. That's you also. Fun.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So, I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
Got what I wanted. I think I knew what I wanted.
And you got it.
And I got it. So, number 5. Anything else you want to say about 4 before we move on to number 5? Number 4, we have...
number 5.
Sorry, number 5. We have more of a sense of freedom. And there's a picture of people jumping around like, freedom!
I hope people ain't jumping like that.
Yeah,
that's a picture of young people jumping.
Nah, that's lies. We jump.
Y'all jump. They ain't old people knees jumping.
So now this, I think, is actually true. The first line of this one says, when I first considered dating, I had already decided that if I remained single for the rest of my life, I'd still be perfectly happy. And I think that's true.
I think at the older age, you come to that point.
Yeah.
Like I was, when we met, I was 100% at that point. I had that conversation with myself. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what? I tried. Mm-hmm. It hasn't worked out.
Yep.
I still love me.
Yep.
I'm an amazing person. If I'm single until the day I die, so be it. If not, so be it. And I'm not.
Yeah, agreed. It's interesting. They phrase this as being detached from expected outcomes. And I think that that's something that I had to really learn because I would meet somebody, I like that person, and then I'd imagine all these different outcomes.
Is that a woman thing?
No, it's a me thing.
Is that just because you're not the only one I know who has done that?
Well, I don't think it's a woman thing. I think the expected outcomes are different, maybe according to different genders, but I think people go into certain relationships with outcome expectations.
Our listeners, chime in. I want to know what you guys think. Versus guys or girls, do both have what expected outcomes, or what are those expected outcomes? If you're a guy, what are those? If you're a girl, what are those? Chime in.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but it ends by saying that they've learned that unexpected outcomes often surpass anything that they could have imagined. And I think that is 100% true.
That's
been the lesson of my life. I think that when I think back to my 20s, I think back to things like I had these goals and I had these visions, and I still have those things. But I'm not so attached to the way I have to get there. Right. And I'm even less attached to the whether or not I get there. The idea is that I just want to work toward those things. Right. So yeah, I would agree with that for sure. For sure.
What's number 6?
Number 6 is it's more fun to date later in life.
What was it? This is 7 reasons why it's better. That's an opinion.
It is an opinion, and I don't know that that's true. I had a bunch of fun in my 20s.
I had a blast when I was young. Even when I was just dating.
Much fun when I was dating. Not just dating. Like, being young is fun. Like, this just sounds like
old really is.
Stuff. Come on, you guys. Let's be real. Young people, y'all are having a blast. And if you're not, please go out and have a blast.
Have a blast.
Go enjoy your life. Like, have fun. Enjoy
Dance until your knees hurt.
Dance all night. They're young. Their knees don't hurt.
That's what I'm saying. Keep dancing until your knees hurt.
Right. That part. Yeah. No, like, I had a great time in my 20s. I went and did stuff I would never do now.
Right.
I got all the stories, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I loved it. I had a great time. Yeah, so no.
I don't quite this. Okay, number 6 you're wrong.
6 is wrong. 6 is wrong. Now 7 I agree with. It says older folks are more emotionally mature.
No, let's that's older men and women. Older women. Why separate it? Why not because older people?
Yeah.
I'm talking about just the article. The article said older men and women.
They weren't reading the article. That's why I just edited for our listeners.
For our listeners, yeah.
I just I made the correction for you guys. Older people.
Older people. Older folks.
Older folks, right? Because I don't know, there's all kinds of folks. So why break it out to just 2 kinds of folks?
Right.
All kinds of folks are more emotionally mature.
Right.
I think that's just a given.
Yeah, well,
yes and no.
But there are exceptions to every rule, right?
Yeah.
There are, you can find a single, old person that is immature, and you can find a young person that's very mature. Like, you can do both.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I mean, but on the whole, yeah, we're definitely more emotionally mature. I think that's, again, all the factors. I mean, the thing is, the older you get, the more you learn. Hopefully, you take those lessons back with you. You apply them to all parts of your life, not just, dating, not just, finding partners or, anything. You hopefully learn more as you get older because, you've made some mistakes. You've had some success. You've kind of walked a life.
Now, do you find, okay, I know you can't get into specifics, but as a therapist, are the conversations around love and relationships different with your younger clients versus your older clients?
They are. And, I think they're different because dating now is very different. Like, the whole dating landscape, and I'm not even kidding. It's so different. Part of it is the apps. Everybody's on the apps.
Right.
But also, I think, how do I put this delicately? I think it is much harder to find people who actually care. I really do. Like, just on a very basic human level, a lot of the conversations I'm having with folks are primarily because, and this is across all genders, right? It's really difficult for folks to find the traits that they are looking for in other people. And often those traits are things that, like, I don't know, didn't seem scarce when I was dating, things like, thoughtfulness, or at least at least at the beginning of a relationship, right?
Right. When everybody has their best foot forward.
When everybody has their best foot forward. And like, it seems very much now that nobody's really putting any foot forward. Like, there just doesn't seem to be an awful lot of effort. And again, you know, finding something special, it takes time and it takes effort. Right. And I think because it's so much easier to just kind of like swipe, right? You know, that's what it is. The initial engagement with someone, you know, of course, for when we were younger was superficial, but also I had to see you. I had to kind of get a sense of your vibe and your energy, right? Whereas now it's just, I see your picture, yes or no. I see your picture, yes or no, right? And it's just a superficial level of just like the initial engagement that just removes a lot of the kind of humanity.
Yeah. There's no more getting to know a person.
Or even just like, I just saw your vibe. Right. I kind of liked your vibe. It's just kind of more like, oh, I saw your picture and I either liked your face or I didn't like your face. Right.
I overstudied the background image where you were. Why are you taking a picture by a pool that you don't look like you own?
Right. Yeah. That kind of thing. Yeah. So I think that's changed.
And then I guess also like on the flip side, being the person who has to take that photo and try to find the right, like I don't have to spend, you know, you don't spend time cultivating your personality, right? You spend time cultivating your profile pic.
Your image, right? Yeah, I think that's the difference, right? Is people are engaging with each other's images as opposed to with each other's persons,
right?
Yeah, and that can make dating, I think, a really difficult. And the word that comes to mind, honestly, is harrowing. It seems like a harrowing experience,
right? How did you approach dating me when?
I went through a harrowing experience, you know, I mean, not dating you, but like, for the listeners out there, I was married for 10 years. I got divorced. Long story, terrible marriage, terrible divorce. So, I was very gun shy, but I decided I was going to get out there. So I went on the apps. I did
you did the whole app thing.
I did the apps. I did like OkCupid and Tinder, and gosh, I tried a few of them. I went out with a few people, but like honestly, it never even presented me with something that seemed interesting. Right? Like, you know, I was very naive of the apps. I didn't really understand how they worked. And so I thought like, oh, you know, the only thing I knew about apps were like Match.com, right?
Right.
Where the slogan was that you answer these questions and they'll
find you somebody,
they'll match you with this person. And my friend Carla had actually met her partner on Match.com. So, and I was like, and this person like swept her off her feet, like he took her on like a helicopter ride or something. I mean, like all kinds. And so I was like, okay, like Match.com. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll answer all these questions, all the questions, every single question. And I did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions because the questions never end.
Right.
So I answered all these hundreds of questions in my quest, and you know, they would present me with somebody that'd be like, "Are you serious? Like for real? This dude, like this person, this girl? Are you serious? Like nothing. It was just like a desert out there." So I met a few people, but nothing ever clicked.
Nothing.
There was quite literally nobody I even felt like I wanted to be friends with, honestly. And so I was kind of in despair. It's kind of one of those like, ugh. And I was really thinking,
I'm
like,
glad I was a desperation move.
Well, I mean, we already talked about on our first podcast. You know, if you haven't heard it, it's called One Night Stands, Booty Calls.
No, that was our second podcast.
Sorry, our second podcast was One Night Stands, Booty Calls, Fuck Buddies, and Friends with Benefits. So, right. You know, I guess desperation is a part of that. I don't know.
I guess. Well, actually, we do mention that part. You're like, I was tired. I hadn't had it in a while. That's how we went on that path. But
you were cute. Thank you.
Yeah. But what I mean is how was it different once we had decided to become boyfriend and girlfriend? Right. So
at that point,
we're done with friends and benefits. We're laying in bed. We decide we're going to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Well, but see, that's the thing is that it didn't feel like a decision. It just felt like a confirmation.
Right.
Right. Like, you know, we didn't decide, again, that whole expected outcome.
Right.
You know, we just kind of found ourselves in this situation that was like, oh, okay, this is like a thing.
Right.
Is this a thing for you? Because I feel like it's a thing for me. And so by the time I actually realized it was a thing, like it just kind of seemed like, yeah, we're already in it. So, I wasn't looking forward to like, I wasn't trying to like move in that direction. I just looked up and I was there in that direction.
But once we're in there, did it shift your focus or your attitude or your experience? So, I mean, let's say this experience had happened when you were in your 20s, right? Versus now.
Yeah. So, well, kind of, right? So, meeting you at that time in my life, there was kind of like this internal battle happening, right? Because one, I'd left a bad marriage. And so I was adamant I was not ever going to get married again.
Right.
And so to feel like so strongly attached to another person was like, why? I don't want to do this, Whereas in my 20s, like the instant, like honestly, in my 20s, the instant we had sex, I would have been like, when we getting married? When we getting married? I would feel like, on lockdown. Who you looking at? Who you talking to? Give me your phone. Like I was not like a healthy dater. Yeah, so that was definitely different in that I had a lot more caution.
Okay.
And there was a lot more conflict about whether or not I actually wanted to be partnered or not. Because I, at that point, envisioned my life as completely unpartnered for the rest of my life, and was looking so forward to that. I was so happy to be single. I was so happy to be living by myself. I love my stuff. I love my clothes, and I like
you love your autonomy.
I love my autonomy. I love my house to look a particular way, like all those kinds of things. So I was like having a blast all by myself, enjoying my life, just living my life. So the battle was that I actually really had to stop and weigh, like, what am I giving up? What do I have to let go of if I really want this relationship? And it was a battle. It was not an easy conversation.
Yeah.
Even though it was an easy relationship, I think, right? So yeah, it was different. It was very different. What about for you?
Well, I was single for a long time, but little dots of relationships.
Yeah.
I'd just been, when we were hanging out, I'd just been broken up maybe about a year before, a year earlier. I had made the decision. That was it, no more, right? Whatever. But
was that a bad breakup?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, okay, this is how bad it was. She broke up with me on my birthday.
Oh, ouch.
On my birthday.
Ouch.
On the phone.
Oh, that's ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, and then we kind of got back together a little bit, and then we decided it was over. But I was very much a once the decision has been made on my end, I just move forward beyond that. And so yeah. But again, I knew me. I knew who I was, and I had resigned to the fact that I'm not going to find anybody, or I doubt if I'll find anybody who gets me and wants me for who I am, doesn't want me to be the idolized version of me that they wish.
Got it.
But I think being older taught me that.
Yeah.
And like I ran through the gamut all the while I was in Vegas. I was in Vegas for 15 years.
Right.
Right? Like, my first girlfriend in Vegas was a total mistake. But I call her my midlife crisis. She was my little red Corvette. It was a complete mistake. But again, I was making young person's mistakes. Yep. Even though I was a bit older, I was still making young guy mistakes. And that changed as each relationship. I started marking off. Oh no, I need this in a relationship. Oh, I started to find out what I needed.
And what were those things?
Well, so
as you look back, what were the things that you needed in a relationship that you learned over the years?
Okay, so for with my first girlfriend in Vegas, My first official girlfriend in Vegas. I needed someone who liked my penis.
Okay.
Because she didn't.
Check.
And then I thought that's all I needed. So then
that's all I needed. That's all I need, guys.
Look, I didn't know that was a thing until I got with somebody who said they loved me but didn't like my penis.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
that's important.
Penis is part of me. This is what I got. So
yeah, it's important.
You gotta love that. Then I learned that I needed somebody who was okay with me having friends.
Yeah, okay.
It wouldn't try to shut me off from the world. Because I have my friends, and my friends are huge. So don't close me off from the world. And then my last relationship before us, I learned that I needed compatibility in how we view the world and our places in it.
I don't know what that part means.
So my previous girlfriend before us was white.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and she had differences. I know.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty sure.
Still?
Probably Republican.
Probably still white?
Yeah, definitely still white, but maybe Republican.
Yeah, maybe.
And there was some...
Not anything wrong with you people.
Nothing wrong with Republicans.
Just different viewpoint.
I mean... So there was those aspects, right? And then there's the deeper aspects of, she was a parent, she had 3 kids. Right. I asked him, was I ready to be a stepdaddy? What did that look like? What did our parenting situation look like? Now, luckily, I had already gone through that kind of situation prior. And when I was living in California, with a woman that had 2 kids. And I went, no, I already know.
Wait, was that the person you dated didn't have kids?
No.
Just kidding.
No. Although you are the only person that I have dated that doesn't have kids as of today.
Yes.
All of them have children now.
Yeah.
No, except for one.
Yeah.
My very first one, I call my first girlfriend.
I'm probably the only one that didn't ever want
Never wanted kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's what I learned. Going through those relationships. Yeah, tell me what I needed in the box and out of the box.
Got it.
And it was dangerously close because you had something that was outside of my box, and it was you wanted to move.
Yeah,
you wanted to leave Vegas, and
I did.
At that time, like that was heavily outside of the box. I feel if Vegas isn't inside the box, we got a problem.
And we had a problem. I was definitely not feeling Vegas at that time.
Yeah.
And still don't. But fortunately, we don't live there no more.
No, we definitely don't live there no more. So
I guess that worked out for
it did
for all of us, huh? But especially me.
I realized it wasn't as important.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't as important.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it was at the time.
Yeah, well, that was a young man mistake you almost made.
It was a decision time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm trying to decide.
But would we say that we found love at an older age, or because that article was talking about 60 plus?
Yeah. Well, that's true. But I think the principles are the same.
Yeah, but I mean, you were late 30s. I was early 40s.
Late 30s, but I had gone through some relational experiences. There were a few women I thought I'd love.
You had the relationship of an old lady?
I had the what?
You had the relationship background experiences of an old lady, but you were still young?
What?
Is that what you're saying?
What are you talking about?
You said you had experiences.
I had experiences. I didn't say I had old lady experiences. What are you?
I'm just saying you had the type of, like the article was saying, right? When you were older, they were saying 60 plus, you had all these life experiences.
I had a lot of life experiences by the time I was in my mid-30s.
In your mid-30s.
I started working in corporate America when I was 16.
Right.
So I had a lot of life experience.
Right. Which
all over the world.
I would say that a lot of people
yes.
in their early 30s,
yes,
haven't had that much life experience.
Yes. But for me, if you're asking me, which is who we were talking about, what I was saying is that I had a lot of life experience by the time we met. I had lived all over the world. I started working in corporate America when I was 16. I had been, married and divorced. I mean, like, there were a lot of experiences I didn't have. Obviously, I didn't have children, right? But I mean, a lot of the experiences that I actually wanted to have in my life, I had in my life already by that point in time, right? So I'd done the career thing. I'd realized what I wanted to do with my life in terms of my career. I had, lived in different places and different cultures and talked and met with and dated different people. I had, fallen in love a gazillion times, like, badly most of the time. I wasn't great at making, I wasn't really great at selecting partners, actually. That was something that I had to really learn because one, people that I was sexually attracted to, I would automatically think that there must be some other compatibility there.
Right.
And that was across the board. That was like men I dated, women I dated, and many of those folks, were just not good for me. Just,
right.
Just suffice it to say, just not good for me. But a lot of it was because, like, I would try to find some compatibility that wasn't actually present, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, that led to meeting a lot of folks that were dishonest, that were unkind, that were, again, having to learn these things, having to learn the hard way, right?
But they were cute.
Oh, but yeah, they were very cute. All of them were very, very cute. But no, but just not really for me, right? So, so learning, right, that, the value, I guess that's how you kind of, like, I kind of poo-pooed that whole idea of honesty not being important in my 20s, or for folks in their 20s. But as I look back, actually, it was not so important, right? Or at least it wasn't so present, right? Like, that wasn't like, that was kind of one of those throwaways, like, well, of course I want them to be honest. But then I look back and I realized I was dating a lot of people that were not honest, right? So I didn't understand the value of it, right?
Maybe it jumps up on the priority scale.
It jumped up on the priority scale. I recognized the value and how important that was, for that person or, the people I was dating to have integrity. It was important that, because, like I said, I started, I'm a go-getter. I'm a person that does stuff, right? Like, I think of myself as a person who does things. And so what I would find is that people that I would be dating would hand me their problems to solve. And I'd be like, I got you, boom, right? Because this is what I do. I solve problems, right? So I learned that, like, I had to find someone who had a match in terms of autonomy, because otherwise I was just the problem solver for the relationship. And it felt good for a minute until, like, I realized that all you handed me are problems, right? So that wasn't good ultimately for me, for you, for my psyche. So yeah, so that was something I had to learn. I mean, I funded a bunch of mixtapes, metaphorically, and in actuality, but still. So I had to learn the hard way that, like, I'm not, it's not a loving thing to run in and solve other people's problems just because they handed them to you, right? And I saw it as, like, my mission in life. Like, somebody had a problem and I love you. You throw that problem right on me. I got you. Don't you worry about it. I'm gonna get you hooked up. Wrong idea.
Right.
Especially, and again, that goes back to that honesty part, right? Because it's the right idea for the right person, but it is the very wrong idea for the wrong people, and I was meeting the wrong people.
Now, question.
Yeah.
Did the problems you were thrown on a fix, were they of the emotional variety, or were they like
the financial,
the
financial, both, but mainly financial.
I think I'm on the flip side of that, but mine was always the emotional.
Yeah, no,
I was always Mr. I hate to say that, but for a while I was Captain Save-A-Ho.
No, I hate that.
I hate that phrase too, but that was me
phrase.
because I was very much seeking out.
Can we rename it Captain Save a Hurting Person?
Captain
Save a person.
you know what? I'll clean it up. I was the man looking for damsels in distress.
Okay, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, and I was trying to be their superhero.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll take it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, go on.
People out of it's weird I'm to say this, but this is not what happened with us. But people out of bad relationships, or that I saw in bad relationships. No, that did happen with us. Yeah, but
I was out of a bad relationship, but you weren't trying to fix that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's
right. When I was younger, I would have been trying to let you know there are good men out there, and I'm a good man. I know I'll be the example of a good man for you.
Oh yeah, no, they're
right.
Like that.
That was when I was younger. That's pretty much what I was. Like, no, there are men. Oh, well, I talked to a bunch of women. This is what you say you want. You want this. You want this. And I would mold myself into what I hear they say they wanted, and that wasn't who I may have been.
Yeah.
Right. Then I decided, well, I'm going to be me, and stop. I'm not going to try to mold myself to your viewpoint. I'm going to be me, and hopefully those viewpoints will match up.
Yeah. For me, it was almost always tangible in that, I had this vision of like potential, right? Like, like that whole we're gonna build this life together. Like, I got you. You want to be an MMA fighter even though you're only 5'5"? I got you. Right? Like, right. You think you're gonna be the next, whatever artist? I got you. Like, you think you want to start this business? I got you. Like, all of that, because again, that was one. I'm a person that has big dreams,
right?
And so I always thought I have to be with someone who also has big dreams, right? The challenge was that I was meeting all these folks who were just dreaming, right? And even though it looked like they were moving forward, they weren't really. They were just dreaming, but they weren't actually like working and building and like planning and strategizing. And because I did that for them. So I'd be like, oh, right, you want to be an MMA fighter? Let me find this gym for you. And here's this teacher for you. And this person knows that person for you. And yeah, never again. Never again. Right. Sorry if you want to be an MMA fighter.
I don't.
Too bad.
But that's okay. Like, luckily, you don't have to worry about that. I do a lot of that for myself. Yeah. I find the
that's why the
path. That's why we work.
That's why we work. Yeah.
Excellent. With that, so love at old age. I'm glad it worked. Right now, it's working out for us.
So, what's the question that we're gonna answer?
I was looking up to see
for today. We have a user or
so not user questions. Listener questions. Listener questions. This is a part of the show where we get into listener questions. At some point in time, I hope to have like a musical interlude to play right here that we get into listen to questions. Listen to questions. This is where it's gonna go. Listen to questions.
Yeah, maybe something different.
Okay. Oh, this is interesting. It's talking about past relationships and future relationships.
Yep.
This question comes from our friend Liz.
Oh, yay. Hey, Liz.
She says, how do you keep from projecting bad things from your past into your current relationship?
Ooh. Well, the first question is, do we? I think we have learned how to do that over time. I think it took a long time to not project those bad things because we're we're human, and the thing that we do as human beings is that we learn from our experiences, good and bad, and we use those experiences to apply to our present situation, right? So that includes the bad experiences to apply to the present situation. So, wow, how?
That is the question.
Whew, that's a good question.
How do you stop doing that? I would think that the first thing is acknowledgement.
Yeah.
You have to be able to acknowledge that is what you're doing.
You have to have some awareness.
Some awareness of it, right?
That is actually a thing that's taking place. I think it's a lot of self-work. I did a lot of therapy, which I think was incredibly helpful in terms of that awareness part of that. I think you have to go through a process of healing from those events, so that when I hear projecting from the past, what I hear is I'm still wounded today, right? Like, it's not that it's in the past, it's that the past is present. And if the past is present, then that's what we're going to be dealing with, right?
It's going to mess up your future.
It's going to mess up my right now.
Right.
It's going to mess up my today. And so, actually walking through the very difficult process of healing, which can actually be very painful, right? Therapy, I try to make it fun and interesting and engaging, but therapy's hard.
Right, yeah. Yes, it is.
We can walk through some really, really tough things, but the folks that are brave enough to, really walk into those dark shadows, come out on the other side both stronger, more aware, and healed, right? And I think it's walking through that process of actually understanding the ways in which you've been hurt, the ways in which that hurt stays with you, the ways it has affected and shaped your life. You have to grieve those things, because, like, I don't know, there are some things that happen that it changed your life, right? It changed who you were. It's not gonna be different, right? Like, you had that experience that happened. It shaped you in some way, and it marks you in some way, and you have to grieve, like, the person that I thought I was going to be, or I might have been, had I not had these terrible experiences, right?
Right.
You have to grieve the time that you spent. You have to grieve the things that you lost. And I think once you have walked through that grieving process, like a lot of things, right? It's not that it is now suddenly okay, but you learn how you continue to live, and you learn how to live in a way that's more joyful. And I think that's how you do it.
There you go.
That's how you do it.
There you go. Well, Liz, thank you again for that answer. We do that question, rather.
Yeah, wow, that was a great question.
That was a great question.
I had to really stop and think through that one. I appreciate it.
Let's see if we have any short letters from our listeners.
Yeah.
All right, I got a letter, and I'll just read it. Here we go. This is a letter from a listener. It says, "Thank you for starting the podcast about your relationship and creating a space to talk. I don't have any questions yet, but I will try to get you stories of my relationship.
Yeah.
Fella and I are both neurodivergent individuals.
Yeah.
I have ADHD and he has OCPD that presents like high-functioning autism.
Okay.
There may be autistic traits for both of us. We just haven't gotten around to testing.
Yep.
We have developed so many fascinating ways of communicating our mood and sensory state. Firstly, we have two houses that are 2 blocks apart.
Yeah.
The fella can't read nonverbal cues and has no sense of time. So when I am ready to have my house to myself, I start playing ABBA.
That's a good way to get anybody.
And the fella leaves within 10 minutes.
I love it.
We've been together 15 years, lots of therapy, joys, challenges, and laughter. Love the Digital Nomad podcast. Welcome to the Scoopverse. Prairie Scoop Amy." Thank you, Prairie Scoop.
Yeah, that's great. I really love the strategies y'all have come up with. I also really love that, and I hear what you're saying about neurodivergent. That absolutely makes a difference. And also, I love that you've just decided to create a relationship that works for you, no matter what works for other people.
Yeah.
Right. I love that you have your own space. I love that you have found ways to, communicate with each other. And it's obviously working because you've had this joyful relationship. And, I imagine over 15 years, you've walked through a lot of different spaces that, some more joyful, some less joyful.
Right.
But, like we have.
Right.
But I really love that you have created a relationship that works. And I mean, that's the skill, right? Is how do we communicate in a way that allows us to be who we are? Everybody thinks when they get into a relationship, they want to we have to figure out how we're going to create a life together. And the best place you can be with a partner is I get to be myself with you.
Right.
And I love that you guys get to be yourselves with each other. I think that's fantastic.
I love you found tools and ways of creating a environment that is suitable to your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The way you found that, the way that works, and and you've worked at it. Mm-hmm. and work together at it, and so that's amazing. So thank you again for your letter. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, really wonderful.
If you want to send us your letters, if you have questions, hit us up at Rainbow Dreamcatcher TLP@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. That's Rainbow Dreamcatcher TLP, as in the Love Podcast.
Hit us up at gmail.com. We'd love to hear it. You can also leave questions and comments on the Spotify, and find us on the social medias. We'd love to hear from you all. Thank you again. Anything else to say?
No, I really enjoyed this conversation tonight. Thank you.
Likewise. Find us where you listen to all your things and tell your friends all about us.
Hit the like and the subscribe button, all that good stuff.
Bye.